humbug. What if you had a second chance to get your life right?
You will be haunted by 3 spirits. I'd rather not.
On November 6th, the ghosts of Christmas will help one man get into the spirit.
I was a boy.
Jim Carrey is Ebenezer Scrooge.
Gently, Mrs. Dilbert. What a charming woman.
Disney's A Christmas Carol, rated PG, Disney Digital 3D and IMAX 3D.
Hello, everyone, and a Merry Christmas! This is Cinemarcade, the podcast about movies, video games, and the sparks that fly when those worlds collide. And, humbug, I hate podcasts. I'll never learn to love them. Two ghosts! Who's here with me today?
Wow, that's the most stunning opening you've ever done.
Easily. I'm just getting better with age. I
am the ghost of Christmas present, J-Ban.
Yes, very present, very living in your cough. And who else is here haunting this table?
I like to think I'm the ghost of Christmas yet to come, but I think I have room to go to get there.
If that cat breaks our brand new lamp, I swear to God...
Yeah,
Gonzo
just got up on there and then fell between the end table and the wall.
This is going to be the second lamp in a week that this cat is broken, and I'm going to throw him out the window. I think we're almost done with him. This is our last episode before Christmas Day. Hopefully everybody is celebrating and having a good time. Justin's attention span is not really being maintained right now.
There's animals.
But we are
so cute.
Celebrating the occasion by talking about one of the most beloved holiday stories of all time in maybe one of its least beloved versions. We're talking about A Christmas Carol. That's the 2009 Robert Zemeckis film, and not one of the myriad other adaptations that we're talking about. But you know, this is a big work of fiction. This is a big, important kind of piece of our culture, and we're going to get a chance to finally talk about it, even if it's not necessarily in a form I would seek out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, what is the most film-adapted piece of work?
I was looking into this, too. I think there's a real claim that Christmas Carol might be it, if you fold in, like, TV and everything like that. But it's like maybe Dracula, maybe Bible stories. I don't know, but it's like it's not like they're filming the entire Bible.
I would put money that it's the Christmas Carol.
There's a good chance. I can tell you that there are at least 50 film adaptations, which is pretty insane. There's film adaptations going all the way back to 1901, which is crazy. And if you fold in TV and miniseries and things like that, it's close to 400. So that's kind of a lot. It's an evergreen story. Every year we're going to have Christmas, and every year people are going to trot out their favorite versions of it.
Oddly enough, every year there are shitty rich people.
It's like they learned nothing. It's like the ghosts have been sleeping on the job. Like, where are the ghosts haunting Donald Trump? You know, like, seriously.
I famously, as mentioned previously, not a big holiday movie person, especially like Christmas. But a few years ago, I was like perusing AMC because I used to live near an AMC, and I was like, I just want to see a movie, and I'm like, there's like a mystery movie, and it's mystery in the sense of like they don't tell you what the movie is.
Oh, like the brown bag movie. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this seems interesting, and it's like $6, and I'm like, hey, roomies, do you want to go do this? And so we did, and it was a musical Will Ferrell adaptation of a Christmas Carol.
Spirited,
Was
I
it
think
Spirited?
it's called. Right? Yeah. I never saw that.
I saw it. It wasn't that bad.
It was honestly because it was Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was okay. I feel like we got a tamer Ryan Reynolds than we normally get.
Which,
in modern Ryan.
I enjoy a reserved Ryan Reynolds.
Honestly, Will Ferrell too.
Yeah,
they were both more reserved in Spirited, but definitely another Scrooge remake. But I don't know. I feel like when it comes to Scrooge and the Christmas Carol, if you don't include Muppets Christmas Carol, because I know that would be your answer.
That's my answer.
What would be your favorite second place Christmas Carol?
That's the thing. I mean, are we counting film, TV, everything?
Everything.
Okay, because I grew. This is probably just because I grew up with it, but I might have to go with Mickey's Christmas Carol, the
Ooh.
early '80s special with Scrooge playing Scrooge. Yeah,
I like the
McDuck.
Patrick Stewart Scrooge. That one was good.
Yeah, 1999, I think.
But
yeah.
in my household, my older brother's favorite Christmas movie was Scrooged. And
Scrooge I've watched a lot. I love
rewatched
Scrooge.
that during the pandemic, and I was like, wow, this really holds up. It's like, I feel like some Scrooges aren't as despicable as they should be, and like in Scrooged with Bill Murray, like he's very despicable.
Shocking that Bill Murray knows how to play a complete asshole, but just given what we know about him now. Let's learn a little bit about this particular adaptation of A Christmas Carol, which was released November 6, 2009. It is written and directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it stars Jim Carrey, Gary Oldman, Colin Firth, Bob Hoskins, Cary Elwes, and Robin Wright Penn. Now, easily, this is the highest budgeted version of this story that's ever been shot. This is a $200 million movie. And I think I have the same reaction when you tell me there's a Christmas Carol as when I hear there's a new Dracula or a new Frankenstein or a new like story that's been adapted ad nauseum. I'm just like, I'm really not excited unless you can bring something really new and really fresh to this. And what Robert Zemeckis is bringing to this is animation. Now, a little context. Let's go all the way back. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, first published in 1843. And it quickly became a staple of holiday literature. And it's important to note that when the Christmas Carol was first published, like Christmas as we know it was kind of a new thing, right? Because Christmas was a pagan celebration like way back in the day, and then they adopted some of the traditions, and then they got rid of some of the others. And for a long time, celebrating Christmas was viewed as like paganism. It was viewed as heathen. And it wasn't until like Queen Victoria.
Isn't it so
it's one
interesting how many things they took from pagan culture, though?
Pretty shocking, yeah. But I think it was around the early 1830s or something like that people started adopting these new customs, these new things that we think of. So the idea of a Christmas tree came around this time. Christmas carols, Christmas cards, Christmas presents, all of that stuff was fairly fresh when this story came out. And
Well, you've got the rise of the middle class. 'Cause,
Exactly.
like, before, they would just generally have feast days, and like, you know, with feudalism, like that's a whole other different thing. But you know, as you get the rise of the middle classes, you really have this expectation that celebration should be more egalitarian.
Yeah, and this story, its popularity, like it kind of immediately out the gate by the most popular author of his day, made this. It kind of helped codify a lot of these things. It kind of helped get more people on board with these new traditions.
Well, it's actually really interesting because this whole thing, the Christmas Carol, is part of an early Christmas tradition, which is telling ghost stories.
Exactly.
So, like, this is like they would tell really, really spooky ghost stories, not Christmas-themed ghost stories, but ghost stories on Christmas Eve.
That's something I feel like we've lost. I think so much when we think of Christmas entertainment now, and I think probably part of the reason, Justin, you butt against it, is we think saccharine. You think sappy. You think
like,
childish.
Do you know the Woman in Black?
Yeah.
That story is being told on Christmas Eve.
Great.
That's
cool.
the framing device of that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's a few things that I dislike. It's not like, again, I'm not like bah humbug during Christmas stuff. Like, I will go to Christmas stuff. I'll participate. I will have fun. But I just feel like there's like it's a lot of like capitalism, and then like a lot of like unrealistic feel good stories, but like stuff that's just kind of like wacky.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. But I think why isn't this like Halloween?
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
tell ghost stories. Let's watch Ghostbusters and Casper and just like
Ghostbusters is a Christmas movie. I'm standing by that. It's
Is
not.
it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's a summer movie, but still.
I've seen it once, and I've already forgotten what time of the year it took place in.
It's fully.
'Cause it was in New York, and that doesn't necessarily place a season.
I mean, I think Bill Murray's wearing a long coat at one point,
Right.
so I think
They're wearing
it's
scarves.
it segues into fall.
Fall.
But yeah, we never go fully winter in Ghostbusters 1.
You never go full winter.
Never go full winter.
That's why we live in Texas.
So the story immediately popular right out of the gate. Like I mentioned, the first film adaptation of this was in 1901. Since then, we've had more than 50 feature-length adaptations and more than 400 if you include sitcoms, cartoons, miniseries, various things like that. It's also an extremely popular stage play.
I forgot about
It's been adapted into comic books and everything.
In Austin, Texas, they make the Zach Theater, one of our local theaters, makes bank at Christmas time because they have a Christmas Carol musical.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Okay.
It's just like I watch it every year because I
Okay.
usually get tickets for like $25 because I usually get the cheap tickets, and it makes me feel Christmassy because I usually go see it with my mom. But at the same time, it's objectively like they use like the chandelier song. It's like a pop musical Christmas Carol. So like everyone so it's like it feels Christmassy, like, but intrinsically it's a lot of pop music.
Now let me tell you right here, boy. I Ebenezer
For
Scrooge.
example, Marley sings "Money, Money, Money, Money."
Yeah, no.
So
Scrooge's anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
Okay, we'll save the Scrooge boner for later.
It's a very crucial part of this discussion. But I think the best known adaptations over the years, I think the ones that get kind of trotted out every year, we have the 1951 adaptation with Alistair Sim, 1984 George C. Scott version, 1988's Bill Murray Scrooged, the Muppets Christmas Carol, my personal favorite, and the Patrick Stewart version, as well as the brand new Spirited, as aforementioned, with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
Patrick Stewart version?
There is, yeah. It was I think it was a made-for-TV movie, but it was a really good one. That's like a TBS special, I think.
did this make its money back?
This movie did okay. I think it was bigger overseas than not. But here's where we're kind of
just
at
a blockbuster,
with
right?
Robert Zemeckis. Now, we all remember talking about The Polar Express, the greatest, non-creepiest Christmas movie ever. This movie came about largely because Robert Zemeckis could not help himself. We've covered that movie, and despite the vocal protestations that the animation style was creepy and off-putting, it became a slow-burning hit. I think now, it's dispiriting to talk to like younger people now who are like, "Oh my God, I grew up with The Polar Express. It's the best movie."
Still like in the top 10 on HBO or whatever.
It's crazy.
Express
People
and
trot it
IMAX.
out every year. I find it super off-putting, but whatever.
Well, it's interesting because like I feel like this movie's animation is better than the Polar Express animation.
And this is using the same kind of mocap technology that he was pioneering in 2004 with the Polar Express. He has another film in between that one and this one, which is Beowulf from 2007. We will cover that at a future date, but that's using the technology to try and tell a more adult story, still adapting like a classic, but trying to tell a more adult, more violent, more epic kind of story. That movie's weird. We'll talk about it.
And apparently the same company that did the mocap did Monster House.
Yeah, they did a little bit of that in Monster House as well. But and so the company that they created, Robert Zemeckis created it, and it's called Image Movers Digital. And almost immediately after the Beowulf came out, Disney swooped in and bought the studio out from under him to allow him to make a couple of movies under their label. He made two. All right, the first was this, which did okay. The other one, which he did not direct, but he did write and produce, was Mars Needs Moms, which is
What is Mars Needs?
Mars Needs Moms is considered by some to maybe be the biggest box office failure of all time. I think it made $18 million on an $180 million budget, something like that.
I've never heard of this
Exactly. It's an adaptation of a little-known children's book. It stars Dan Fogler and Joan Cusack. Somehow that was not enough
Oh my
of
God,
a seller.
it's horrific.
It looks terrifying, and it is one of the most massive, embarrassing flops of all time. I've never seen it. I'm almost curious to see it just because of that.
They lost at least $100 million.
At the very least, yeah. Disney was having a real losing streak around that time because they had that movie, John Carter and the Lone Ranger.
Seth Green?
Yeah. So immediately after that movie flopped, Disney sold Image Movers Digital back to Robert Zemeckis, and he's still doing stuff with it. Like most recently, he made the movie Here, which another movie I found terribly unpleasant. I have to take a sidebar to say, Robert Zemeckis at one point,
He's your favorite.
One of my very favorite filmmakers for the contributions that he made, like. Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Back to the Future and
he was Who Framed Roger
Death
Rabbit?
Becomes Her and Contact,
Romancing
and
the Stone.
Romancing the Stone, and Castaway. Like
So many movies I haven't seen.
he did so many incredible films in a row, and I feel like at this point he has fully lost it. His last couple of movies were like the Pinocchio live action remake or the Witches remake or Welcome to Marwen. He's just fully lost it, I think.
I didn't see any of the Pinocchio movies that year, but I still think it's wild that like 3 major Pinocchio movies are made.
I
Yeah.
don't know if he's lost it. I think he's like in this twilight of his career where he's just doing stuff that he doesn't have to compromise on.
Yeah.
And compromise makes great films. And so and I feel like this is the thing. It's just some people, great filmmakers don't have to be hit 100% of the time to be great filmmakers.
No.
I feel like even Spielberg is having a lot of trouble at the moment.
Isn't that the Tarantino thing where Tarantino's like, I have hit so well with all of my movies that I'm afraid to make more movies?
Yeah.
'Cause he doesn't want to make a bust.
Right. It's that thing, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think the difference is Spielberg will try some stuff and it doesn't work sometimes, but he always kind of bounces back. He made Ready Player One, which I hated, but then he followed it up with The Fabelmans and West Side Story and The Post. And it's these are all incredible movies.
There's something similar that happens. I watch hockey, and some in Formula One, it doesn't happen in Formula One as often, but typically in hockey, what'll happen is if you have a really good career, you either cut it short yourself, or you play until you either get injured and have to cut it short, or you're just not good enough to play.
Yeah.
And I think I don't mind what way they do it as long as it's kind of on their terms, right?
Yeah.
If it's a hockey player, it is always terrible if an injury is what ends their hockey career. And I feel like it's the same thing with a filmmaker where I don't care if a filmmaker ends their career making busts as long as they weren't forced to make busts.
No. Look, he's making exactly the movies he wants to make, but I think he's just kind of too obsessed with his own new toys. He's really drilling down on all the new technology and everything like that, and he doesn't seem to no one else is as enamored with this as he is. And I think that's kind of where this Christmas Carol adaptation leads us, right? So the big innovation that we have here is just this mocap technology, which is the goal is to show fairly realistic looking characters for the most part, behaving in the ways that animated things can behave.
The facial capture on Scrooge seemed pretty good. Some pretty detailed.
But you also have a great face actor.
You have again Jim Carrey, who, as we mentioned last week, can do incredible things with his face. And also it was a really detailed Scrooge McDuck, which I think helps.
McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. Ebenezer Scrooge, as opposed to in Polar Express, where the faces weren't super realistic, and so then trying to do realistic facial animations on them is just kind of weird and creepy. I think some of the faces in this movie still hit that kind of weird creepiness, but they at least did a good job with Scrooge, which is nice because he's the one we're looking at most of the time.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and just make a proclamation without having double check this. I personally think this might be the most boring movie we've covered on this show. I think this movie is a snooze. And it's such an interesting contrast when you put this next to the Jim Carrey movie we watched last week, which was The Grinch, which was... I think both of these movies are using Jim Carrey wrong in the exact opposite ways.
Yeah.
Grinch unleashed him to a point where there's no restraining him, and it just overwhelmed. It was just too much paprika on an already kind of gross sandwich. This one,
we're gonna get to The Mask at some point, and that's where I felt that happened.
Oh, The Mask is a good balance for me.
Maybe it's changed since I was younger.
But this is really trying to be as accurate an adaptation as possible.
Yeah, and it's not. the most engaging story to begin with, especially when you've heard it.
Oh no, this movie.
Look,
this is one of the most engaging stories of all time. You cannot blame the source material for the failure of this movie.
It's one of those things where, like, once you've seen it a few times, it is no longer as interesting.
No, that's not
because
true.
You know what's happening.
No, that's not true.
And
That's
this
what
movie-
makes it a classic. This is why people watch it, watch Christmas Carol every year, but they watch the Muppets Christmas Carol. They watch the Patrick Stewart or the 1950-something one. They watch good ones. This is a bad use of good
and I guess I'll
material.
say that it's a very boring adaptation, and like, again, I'm not super thrilled by it to begin with, and maybe I've only seen bad adaptations because I genuinely couldn't tell you what adaptations I've seen. I just know I've seen multiple, other than Spirited. But yeah, it's just boring. They don't do anything interesting.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing. What I was trying to say is, like, they have they're making it such a serious, like, stately adaptation that everybody's trying to kind of basically be on their best behavior. So you have here is Jim Carrey in his most weirdly subdued performance. And here's the thing, they give him opportunities to kind of like let some of the chaos loose, right? Because he plays all three ghosts in addition to Scrooge. So he could be having some more fun in some of those roles. And I feel like they're still reining him in to the point where it's basically inert. Like, I understand not wanting to overuse Jim Carrey and like what he brings to the table, but like, if you're not going to use him at all, then why are you bringing him in here? Like, this could have been
I don't know why you would have hired Jim Carrey when you could have hired someone like Patrick Stewart or Michael Caine.
Gary Oldman is in this movie. Gary Oldman is right there. He would have been great. You could have done...
Even Colin Firth would have been a great Scrooge.
You could have done Gary Oldman playing every character in this, and he would have been, I think, a little bit more dialed in.
So this is something that I really bothers me about Zemeckis, is like, why hire one actor to play multiple characters? It's just fucking stupid. I hate when people do this. I hate it in Frankenstein when Mia Goth plays a mom and the love interest. Like, it's just like, just hire an older woman. Is it that difficult to hire an older woman, for fuck's sake? Why do you have to have Jim Carrey be all the characters? Why in Polar Express do you have to have Tom Hanks be all the characters? It's just stupid.
And at least Polar Express, the different characters felt interesting. And I say felt interesting, but like, you had feelings about them, whether you thought they were annoying or whatever. But I feel like they have Jim Carrey play 4 characters, 3 ghosts and Ebenezer Scrooge. And I would almost argue 5 characters, because post-ghost Ebenezer Scrooge is very different.
Yeah, and he plays him as a young man and as a child. Like,
And like, at no point do you get Jim Carrey.
That's the thing. We're missing that. Like, I think by 2009, like, we know that Jim Carrey is actually a pretty good dramatic actor when he wants to be. Like, he can do it. Like, Eternal Sunshine is a really restrained performance that still uses some of his energy in like a really smart way. This movie, he's being so serious and so stately that, like, this could have been anybody. And since we're using the mocap to kind of morph the face to make him like recognizable but unrecognizable, it's just, I guess I just don't understand the motivation behind any of these big decisions here about like why you would cast it this way, why you would set the tone this way. And then the big, the big hook to this, like the way that they kind of like flex their animation a little bit and make it more cinematic, is by any time he's going from like one ghost to the next ghost, we get basically like a long chase sequence. He's flying through the streets of London, or he's turning into a tiny mouse and running away from things, or he's like, it's just this kind of like inserted, like overblown set piece.
Yeah,
that probably looked okay in 3D when this was released, but like you look at it now,
I think that's why they did it, is that so that was being released in 3D, so they needed to add. But it's just like, it doesn't have this. So it has this stately tone and this completely unhinged, ridiculous tone when it comes to chasing him around and making him a miniature man.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, so I do think like with the opening is almost word for word out of the Christmas Carol. Like, it's like barely any altered dialogue. And then we have Marley, and Marley is like this really interesting looking dead ghost. And I definitely think that, like, I'm like, whose audience are you? Because this is a very adult like, is this movie supposed to be for children, or like maybe make Marley a little less scary?
Well, see, I was on board with that. The fact that this movie opens with a close-up of a corpse with coins on his eyes, I'm like, all right, okay, we're getting into kind of the meat of the story. It's like, okay, this is something we can do that I think has been lost in a lot of Christmas Carol adaptations, which is that it's supposed to be a little scary.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know that they stuck it because
this is literally the story of Scared Straight, pretty much.
It kind of is, right? Yeah, it's being faced with like your own mortality, and weirdly they had the opportunity to do this, and yet the scene where Jacob Marley shows up and is like giving him his dire warning, that's the funniest scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It's played for laughs. Like it's such a weird pivot to do. It's like it was right there for you. You had the idea. None of the other ghosts are scary, even like the death. This is like one of the tamer Ghosts of Christmas Futures I've seen in anything. Even the Muppets one is scarier than this.
Yeah.
And like it's just weird that they keep leaving all this money on the table. You know, it's like they're having all these opportunities to spruce up this story, to do something new, something interesting, or at least something classic.
This was like, you know, pre-Marvel Avengers, because I think the first Avengers movie came out after this?
Yeah, 2012.
Was it? Oh my God, it was 2012?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Iron Man was like 08.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like you don't have to go that far with it in terms of like comedy, but like liven it up here and there. You get like a little bit of it when you're seeing other people, but like even the ghosts are all like deathly serious the whole time, and you're like.
And Dickens is a funny writer, but he's witty. It's more of a dry wit, and you need a little bit of context for like the language and the mores of the time.
Goofy or silly, but at the very least, inject like a little bit of humor.
Well, like I feel like that's the thing, is that they try to inject adventure. And like this is not an adventure story. This is like they needed to have Scrooge, in my personal opinion, be more afraid. Like I just don't get like I don't think Scrooge is as afraid as like a couple of the other Christmas carols we were talking about. Like Michael Caine does a great job of being afraid in Muppets Christmas Carol. But it's just like really like he should be being terrified.
And he starts out afraid when it's the ghost of Marley, and then almost immediately it's dropped as he like adapts to like I guess the new normal of the show as the ghosts are happening, and is like no longer afraid of them until he sees his grave.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's such a weird thing where he goes from like literally seeing all of like the shittiest things about him and being like mildly annoyed or embarrassed about some of it, and then being like terrified when they get to his grave. And it's like, my dude, you're an old man.
And this is, I just want to note, the second animated Disney film in 2009 to star an old man who keeps flying through the sky. Because we had Up earlier this summer. Huge hit. They were on a kick that year for whatever reason. But yeah, it's exactly that. It's like we have an old man as a kid, and like the story, obviously it has a motor and it's got like a motivating things, and there's a lot of fascinating stuff about it, but why are we turning it into a roller coaster every 15 minutes?
Yeah. It felt like you could have read the book and been happier, like more I say happier, but
short.
Like
Yeah.
you would have been more entertained by the book than this movie, and that is by somebody who again doesn't like Christmas stories.
And I will to damn this movie with some faint praise. Like I do think the effects generally look good. This clearly costs a lot of money, and there's a lot of skill put into it. I think the Scrooge,
the Ghost of Christmas Past was a little iffy sometimes. I wasn't super fond of him, but everything else
didn't
was
like
so...
that decision. Yeah, having just Jim Carrey's face floating in a candle flame was a weird choice, and he's doing kind of like a light Irish brogue. Like he's making choices, but they're not like exciting or interesting choices.
But yeah, like the like the I say sets, but like the visuals, the scenery, all looks very nice. Some of like the more minor characters are a little weird, but it's nothing like major. I mean, for the time you'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
And then they did such a good job with Scrooge's face in the facial animations, I thought.
Yeah, they're doing like kind of digital old age makeup, which is like, if there's anything this movie's doing, I think it's making kind of a good case for doing that. I still don't think the technology is there, but like I really hate old age or like fat suit makeup in movies because it's just always like super obvious. And it,
like you can do like I've seen really well done, like especially when they get into like prosthetics of like old age makeup, but like nowadays the newfangled thing is basically to like deep fake it, and it's like just it was something like this where it's already animated. I think it works very well.
But also, Jabin, you were talking about like the use of multicasting or double, triple, quadruple casting. Like if you're doing that, it should be thematic in some way, right? We should be learning more about the character. Like, I guess you can make the argument that since he's traveling through his own past, his own present, his own future, it makes sense for these to be reflections of himself. But like, what's the gain in having Gary Oldman play both Jacob Marley and Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim? Like, what's the?
Well, like I feel like what they're trying to do is inspired by a lot of the plays. So a lot of the Christmas Carol plays that get put on have multicasting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just think it's stupid. I didn't even like Sinners. Like, I love Sinners, but I didn't even like Michael B. Jordan playing twins.
Okay,
like,
so you just don't like that,
I just
period.
don't like it.
Okay, fair.
Like, I don't feel like there are enough actors in the world.
I mean, sometimes it could be used really well, you know, like in Shakespearean adaptations, sometimes you'll see like somebody playing both Macbeth and one of the witches, or Lady Macbeth and one of the witches. Like you'll see things like that. You know, and
but again, that's like when you're on stage, you have a limited cast. Like when you have a film, you don't really have a limited cast.
And like technically, like your limit would probably be budget, but in this case, it was $175 million
at least,
and it's just voice work.
I mean,
so, like,
no, they're all there. They're all like this. They're all like being mocapped and doing their own actions, but like,
it's like. The difference between...
Do you think Jim Carrey was a floating candle head?
Yeah, if anyone could do it.
The difference between having Jim Carrey play 4 characters or having Gary Oldman play 3 characters and bringing in somebody, especially if they're not like a superstar, and having them do it instead. Honestly, I don't know how they got paid for their roles, but if I'm not mistaken, they both probably aren't cheap.
No.
So it might even have been cheaper to have a variety of roles and voices and faces in this.
And some of this is just Robert Zemeckis flexing, you know, because he's responsible for a handful of the most successful movies ever made, you know. So he gets to he has the runway, and it's like, God bless you, dude. You can use it. You've earned it. You can do whatever weird thing you want, but. I think this movie does a better job of avoiding like the dead-eyed creepiness of Polar Express, but it's also not a warm, inviting movie.
So one of the things, one of my favorite TV shows is Psych, and one of the things that they started doing as the show went on is they're just like, we're getting bigger budgets and more pull, and let's just see what the coolest people we can get on the show are.
Yeah.
And like And like I know everybody's different, but like if I was at that level of like I have the money, I can kind of do whatever, I probably would have preferred to, instead of being like I can get Jim Carrey to do 4 roles, it's like I can get 4 really cool people to do 4 different roles.
Yeah, mix it up, you know? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't know. I get so frustrated with this because all I'm doing when I'm watching this is just wishing I had like Gonzo and Rizzo like breaking the fourth wall, and like, and still like most people will tell you that Muppets version is the most accurate version of this story, but while still injecting some fun and some humor.
In worst case scenario, you probably could have Gonzo break a wall while you were watching this.
Son of a bitch, cat. Yeah, he likes to break everything in this house, but. Yeah, that's kind of where I came down on this one. I'm just like, this is, it feels like a huge wasted opportunity.
It made me feel like watching a Muppets Christmas Carol or a Patrick Stewart Christmas Carol or Scrooge. It was so tedious. And I think a lot of that had to do with my personal opinion is like I feel like the animation didn't have enough depth to it.
No. It's kind of flat, like it this looks like a classic picture book of A Christmas Carol. The color scheme is just kind of like gray mostly.
Yeah,
like it's just
kinda
not
drab.
it's not a very vibrant looking movie. And they have opportunities that they don't. Like when you're in the Ghost of Christmas Present sequence, that's when you get to be the most boisterous, the most fun, the most happy. And even that, it's just like it feels flat.
Is that the one where he gets real small?
No,
Which one
that's
is it small?
Christmas Present is the guy who laughed too much.
Yeah, and then he gradually turns into an old man and dies, which
Yeah,
is
that was also weird.
good opportunity again to be creepy, but weirdly placed.
But so I feel like I've seen a lot of other adaptations where the ghosts have more character to them.
Yeah.
And I really feel like there was a missed opportunity. And like, again, I think they've restrained Jim Carrey just way too much.
Like the floating candle head is an adult man. Like clearly it's an adult man with an Irish accent. And I was not really curious about why that was. I'm just like, oh, okay, he just chose a voice. He chose a style. Just like he chooses kind of like a Manchester accent for the Ghost of Christmas Present. Like he's just trying things out. It doesn't really feel informed by the character. If this candle ghost thing has a backstory, we don't really get any kind of hint to it. And I'm not saying I need that. I don't need like a 12-part like Disney Plus miniseries explaining like the backstories of every one of these ghosts. Like I truly don't need it. But I would like a little bit of sense. Like, again, I'm going to keep citing the Muppets. The Muppet Ghost of Christmas Past is this creepy like ghost child who seems like an innocent, who seems like she's got kind of a scary vibe to her, but like she seems like she's pure if otherworldly. Whereas the Jim Carrey candle ghost, I don't know, it feels menacing. It feels
So this is going to be a side question.
yeah.
Because I'm kind of sick of talking about this movie.
Oh, I know, I get you.
But I do like Christmas, and I do like Christmas. What is your like favorite TV Christmas special?
Oh, it's probably the animated Grinch.
The
Honestly,
animated
the
Grinch?
Chuck Jones Grinch from the 60s. Yeah.
Really love the American Dad episode when they have Krampus.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched much of that show. Yeah.
Like I feel like that it's very jazzy.
Okay.
And it's very fun. But I'm a Bob's Burgers girl.
Yeah.
So like I watch all the Christmas episodes during the month of Christmas.
I mean, Community always had amazing Christmas episodes. They're not Christmas Carol specifically, but like Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, the claymation one, is so good.
Oh yeah, I have seen that one.
Yeah, not claymation. Excuse me, that's by Vil Vinton. Yeah.
I liked the first Futurama one.
Oh yeah.
With,
With Xmas and the evil robot Santa. Yeah, great stuff. John Goodman again. Yeah, patron saint of the show.
I like there's some really good animated evil Santas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Not enough in popular culture.
we have your Silent Night, Deadly Night. You have your that's about to get remade pretty soon. So yeah, we got a couple of those. But
What did they do to Winnie the Pooh?
Ugh, don't get me
Turn him into like
started.
a serial killer or whatever. Let's do that with
Don't
Santa.
get me started. I hate that shit. That drives me crazy. As a horror fan, like it drives me nuts that people do that. Well, let's move on to talk about the games. Then.
What if that drives you nuts? Is it because they did it to Winnie the Pooh?
No,
or
because they did it badly.
was it
It's
bad?
because it's
I don't
done
know
badly.
anything about how it was.
They do it just because like it's just a reaction. It's just
got,
like
the shock factor.
oh yeah, this is up for public domain, so let's just make the quickest, nastiest, like shittiest, meanest spirited movie ever, and let's slap Winnie the Pooh characters on there just cause. It's not really thematically related to anything. They're just they're just poorly
I
done.
Google imaged it, and I've managed to get to Google AI somehow.
Oh
Get out of here. I don't like this.
no, it's bad. It's bad. It's a bad movie.
It's bad.
Well, let's move on. We've covered the movie about as much as we possibly can stand. This game, however, is very strange. The Christmas Carol is exclusive to the DS, which is not something that we've come across very often, but it was developed by Sumo Games and published by Disney Interactive. Like many games on the DS and like many adaptations of movies that we have covered, this is kind of a mini game collection, I would say.
I don't know,
But it's also weirder than
there's
that.
Plot.
Like a
There's
point
plot.
Point and
Yeah.
click style thing that has mini games interspersed, but the point and click is essentially just figure out what exactly you are wanted to do now.
It's a visual novel largely. So we it took us a while to kind of lock in on what it was, and I think it's trying to do Professor Layton. If you've played any of those games on the DS, they're very like charming little puzzle games with an amazing score. And there's a repeating track on this that made me think of like the pause menu of Professor Layton. I think it might just be taken straight from that. But either way, this is kind of that. You you tap around in your environment, you look for hidden secrets, and you try and interact with things lightly to sort of progress things. So like, for example, the first mini game is you as Bob Cratchit, and you need to try and get some coal to warm the fire. In order to do that, you need to distract Scrooge. So you have to like shake a drawer and then open a window and grab some coal and make him kick it and do stuff like that. So it's like lightly interactive. And then occasionally you'll have like a little mini game. I think there's 15 different mini games you could unlock, and then you can play them with up to 4 players with the very innovative Pass the DS feature. Don't worry about those multiple cables. Just hand it around the table. Technology. But yeah, so they've got a bunch of mini games like that. Like we found a coin tossing game, kind of like a skee ball sort of thing, where you need to flick coins into a jar. It's like a snowball
fights.
Slide puzzles, which always suck.
I was just curious. I was wondering. This is one of those things where it's like, how many copies of this game was made terms of like, what is it like? What is the price? Because like sometimes games like this are like, we made 400.
Yeah.
And it's real expensive because of that. There's apparently a buy it now listing for $1 on eBay.
Oh, see, I overpaid. I paid $4.99 for this at the game store across the street. Yeah, there's a real.
I will say, I don't know if that includes shipping. If it does include shipping, then they're losing money.
Game collecting can be a real crapshoot in that regard, because sometimes a game will be rare and valueless, and sometimes it'll be common and hugely valuable. So like Pokemon games are always hugely valuable.
And it's rarely okay, it's not always attributed to the quality of the game either.
No,
the value of it. You can have some real shit games that sell for real high dollars for whatever reason.
Now, I'm really curious. I'm holding the game case in my hand right now, and there's a little badge on the cover that says includes original Charles Dickens book. And I'm really curious about what that means. I think if we beat the game, do we unlock an actual readable version of the original text? Because what we are playing is not the original text, right? We are playing a very loose kind of Cliff Notes version of the story. J-Ban encountered like a weird, I don't even know what you call this, but like there's multiple sections where you're just kind of walking in a circle around the block.
Yeah. And when we saw from the so we played about a half an hour, and it's about a hour 50 game.
Yeah, we made it a good chunk into it.
We made it almost done with Ghost of Christmas Past. But like later on, you go on the same walking tour with a Christmas present, and you make everyone happy. So it's like, I think it's just showing you how shit London is supposed to be.
Yeah. Which I get it, like at that time it looked really cold and miserable and sucky, but I don't know. I was a little charmed by what was going on here. Like, it's weird. It doesn't totally make sense, and it's very on rails. Like, I don't think there's a way to lose this game, really. Like, there are some tougher slide puzzles, I guess, that you encounter after a little bit, but like, it's taking you beat by beat through the plot, but based on the Let's Play, like the final half hour of this game just kind of takes place at your nephew's party, and you're playing various board games until you're just done with the game. So you're just playing like the Mario 3, like matching the cards kind of thing, or dominoes. Like it's a lot of public domain kind of like parlor games that you're playing here. So, but there was also like a little bit of a Guitar Hero kind of thing with piano notes where you have to like follow the certain beats and like.
And then I think it was something similar with the violin where you had to like make the notes or something. I don't know. When we were watching it, it was hard to figure out where the stylus was supposed to be, because at certain points of the game, there's like a trail behind it, like as you're moving it around. And at other points, there's not. And so we just couldn't see.
Yeah, it's kind of a baffling game. Like the art style is very different. It's 2D animated, and it's very clearly inspired by this movie. Like these are the designs from this movie, but they also took pains to make sure that these characters do not resemble Jim Carrey in any way, shape, or form. Like they are very obviously like they did not get the likeness rights to use them.
It's like they made a proper one and then went, okay, how do we make this slightly more generic?
Right.
So we don't have to pay anyone for this.
Yeah.
Because I am willing to bet that this game did not have a high budget.
No. Clearly kind of a shovelware kind of game, but I don't know. I almost kind of enjoyed it more than the movie, weirdly. Like,
I thought it was
it's
like,
at least a more novel way to experience this story.
I've never played a DS before. This was my first ever DS
Very
game.
Exciting.
So I was very intrigued. That's why I was tapping the top. I was like, I don't know how to use this.
All right, I might let you borrow a DS and I've got multiple. There's some games you'll like on there. Yeah. But it's a fun, like obviously a DS is a very gimmicky system by its very nature. And a lot of early DS games felt like this. It's tap around on the screen until something happens, like find a couple of clever mini games and then call it a day. The whole thing will take you less than 2 hours from the looks of it. Like it's not a challenging or difficult game, but I don't know. It's giving you at least a more novel way to take in this story than what the movie offers.
Yeah, I think so too.
So like, I don't know. I can give it like a minor pass for that at the very least, but I think we've kind of reached the end of our Christmas Carol discussion. Let's let people go off and celebrate with their figgy pudding and their boiled goose. Let's talk about the rankings.
Boiled goose.
You got to boil it. I've been listening to a lot of the Lonely Island podcast. They talk a lot about the boiled goose. Anyway, let's move on to our rankings. Is this a good movie, good game, a bad movie, bad game, or somewhere in between? Justin, you're the Grinchiest of us all. Where are you coming down? The Scroogiest of us all.
This is clearly a fantastic movie.
Oh, yeah.
No, that is a lie.
Blew it out of the water.
It's a bad movie, but it's not like, terrible. It doesn't commit sins. It just doesn't do much well.
Right.
And then the game was okay. If I had bought this game for $5, I would have been fine with that purchase.
I feel like I got my money's worth. Yeah. How about you, Javian? Where are you coming down?
I think this is an adequate movie that suffers from being maybe at least the 10th worst adaptation of that I've seen.
Oh, I would put it lower than that. Yeah.
Like,
and J-Man has only seen 10 adaptations.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah. And how about the game? Where do you come down on that one?
I thought the game was entertaining, because I've never played a DS before.
It does give you like a down and dirty kind of glimpse of what DS games are like, but I can tell you that like this type of game has been done better, a lot better, and a lot more like interesting. My point was made. I think this is an extremely boring movie. I think it's a lot of missed opportunities. That I think there's potential to do something cool here, and I think they just kind of missed it at every turn. But at least it cost the gross national product of a small country. And the game costs significantly less than that, and I think it's, like I said, a more interesting way to consume this story if you are looking for a new way to bring it in. It's still not a particularly good game, but if you are nostalgic for this era of handheld gaming and of the DS in general, this is kind of a good, cheap alternative to that. Well, that brings us to the end of our Christmas Carol
Can't wait
episode.
for our next Jim Carrey movie.
Oh, so you know what? We're going to take a break from Jim Carrey next week.
Okay.
But we are going to keep the holiday vibes a-rolling. And since Christmas will have passed by then, we need to bring in all the holidays. And that's why we're talking about the 2013 film Rise of the Guardians. Now, if you're watching along at home, this is not the one with the owls. This is the one with the seasons.
This one was with the owls.
No, that's Guardians of Ga'Hoole.
Okay.
This is Rise of the Guardians, in which anthropomorphized holidays are fighting crime. They're making like an Avengers of holidays. It's a DreamWorks animated film. I barely remember it. I've podcasted about this movie and this game in the past for my other show. I do not remember a thing about either one of them.
I might be misremembering, but was this like supposed to be like a big thing when it came out, or am I thinking of something else that has Guardians in the name?
I think you might be thinking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Definitely not Guardians of the Galaxy, because I did see that in
I think every movie wants to be a big
That's
thing.
true.
Like it's trying to be. But yeah, this one didn't really take off. But we'll talk about it. Maybe there's some value to be wrung from this. So if you're joining us next week, listen to Rise of the Guardians, the DreamWorks animated film, not the Owl movie.
And if you're a jerk rich guy, have a change of heart.
Yeah, have a good night with all your ghosts, Elon Musk.
Do what did Billie Eilish say? I mean, don't fucking
She's a
do
bad
that
guy?
stuff.
Yeah.
No, she did a thing recently where she was like,
she just gave away like a couple $1 million because she's like, I've got
Hell
a lot of
yeah.
money.
and then
What do you need it for?
She got in front of a bunch of billionaires and's like, y'all can just like not do what you're doing.
Yeah, but then we
Like,
won't know how big their dicks are. That's the
but
important thing.
I can't wait until next movie where Arbor Day kicks ass.
Yeah, get him, Arbor Day.
If Arbor Day's not in the movie, I'm going to riot.
Well, let's find out. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. The Guardians will rise. Merry Christmas, everyone.